For this week's episode of the Whissel Way podcast, we are going to do something very cool, very unique. We are joined by Miss Jen DiJulio. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
She is an agent on our team. She is one of our board of advisor members. Mm-hmm. We've curated a group of agents on our team to help not only teach classes to help our agents, but also be kind of a point of contact of agents that are doing things right and how to do them the right way. And they're kind of our force to help other agents in a more official way, right?
Yeah, totally. A little bit more teaching, a little bit more helping, which I love, and our team does that anyway.
Yeah. And so when I asked Jen, I said, what are we going to talk about today? She said, I'm going to share the secret sauce when it comes to a buyer consult. And we talked about it for a couple minutes, and I love the mindset shift that you shared with me, Jen. And it wasn't just, it's not the one script to say to get more deals. It's really a mindset shift. And when you go this direction, your clients are going to feel better about it. They're going to refer you more business. They're going to feel taken care of, not taken advantage of, right? And so I'm really excited to dive into that today. Before we do, like I said, this is the Whissel Way podcast. I'm your host, Bryan Koci, creative manager here at Whissel Realty Group. And if you like this and you want more information like the podcast, you can go to thewhisselway.com. On there, you can get access to our Facebook group, our YouTube channel, where we share videos just like this, our podcast. You can subscribe to our weekly newsletter and join our referral network. As people leave San Diego, we need somewhere to send them. Sign up there. Let us know where you serve so that way we can help you and our clients. Thewhisselway.com. All right, Jen, let's dive in. What's the secret sauce? What's the one thing you say that makes all your clients say done and just give you money, right? That's what we're going to share?
I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. I wish it was that easy, right? But I think, honestly, it was the mindset is the secret sauce of buyer consults. Because once I understood that as an agent, like, everything I don't teach during a buyer consult will come back to haunt me in escrow, right? And maybe even keep some newer agents from taking it over that finish line because there's things you just didn't talk about. So that's a big piece. But the other thing that's a little bit of a sidebar, but I really love teaching that when I'm about to teach this to new agents is I want you to know why I love open houses so much and making appointments is it's a time when I just do little baby snippets from my buyer consult. So not only are you practicing your buyer consult and giving value, but you're honestly standing out and it's easy to make appointments. So
yeah, and you're coming from this with a guide or a teacher mentality.
Fully.
Not a what's in it for me mentality.
Yes.
So before we dive all the way into this, give us your 30-second, 1 minute, 2 minute kind of who is Jen DiJulio? Where did you come from? Where are you at now? Why should people listen to you really?
Sure. I'm from Seattle, but I've been in San Diego for 20 plus years and love it. It's home. And real estate, year number 6. Was in it for a couple years and was floundering a bit after COVID. So I was like, man, I need to join a mega team. Who are they out there? And I want to join somebody that if I don't do well, we're literally kicked off. That's my favorite piece about Whissel. Sorry, but it's true. And it makes it a great company to have around you, right? It's a lot of people that want to do well and have our dreams and help other people do that too.
Yeah. And so year 6 in real estate, year 3 on the team?
Yes. Third year.
The first year on the team, you were still trying to do it your own way, right?
Yes.
And you said, cool, I know you're smart, Kyle. I know I joined this team because of all the things you do, but I'm going to do it my way. And that didn't bear the fruit you wished. And then you said, fine, maybe I'll just run the plays. And weirdly, your production, skyrocketed,
It
right?
did. I did actually really well on the team my first year, even though I was still trying to be solo agent on a team. So you're right. Yeah. But I was still the top 20, super proud of my year. And now out the gate in my 3rd year here, I don't know what it is. We're barely into March and it's closing and pending is about $6 million-ish.
I think we're in February.
So pretty dang good.
I don't know what day it is.
No, we're in March, just a wee bit.
Are we?
But the dates don't matter on these bad boys.
Oh, it's March.
Yeah.
My wife's birthday was 4 days ago.
Shoot. You did not forget it.
No, I didn't forget. We did a thing.
Okay.
But I thought we were in February. Genuinely did.
We're good.
That's weird.
So yeah, this year has been amazing for me, and the team leads combined with what I've learned here to have more self-gen including the secret sauce of buyer consults, have been game changing.
So let's start it out, because I know a lot of agents fight a buyer consult.
Yes.
And I think it's changed now that you have to have a buyer broker agreement, which before we've always been we didn't like the California one. It's too many pages, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people fight it, and they say, I don't want to do it. I'll just show them a house and da-da-da-da. But what you said, what I really like, is what you don't share in your buyer consult comes back to bite you later.
Yes.
And so tell me more about that.
Yes, that's what I kind of had to learn the hard way through a couple escrows. Especially, surprisingly, it's ones that are your friends and family or a past client. You've done this before. But even if they did it 3 years ago, or it's your friend or family member, you cannot skip the buyer consult, because when you do, when I have, then it comes up and it's a sticky point in escrow where they're either not understanding things that you definitely should have helped them, or you don't talk about the things and the challenges that could come up, and so they're kind of like expecting it already. It almost like hurts a little bit more if we haven't talked about what's normal.
Yeah, so you preface it and say, hey, these are where some hiccups can happen.
Sure.
When you get your inspection report back, it's going to be 30 pages, but we're only going to look at a few things. And so when it removes a lot of that sticker shock that can really turn a client, a good friend or a past client, into someone who's really frustrated with you, because they go, I didn't know I had to pay for an inspection.
Right.
You go, what do you mean you did this before? Well, they don't think about it every day. They don't do it every day like you did.
How are there all these closing costs? I thought my down payment was XYZ, and you cannot skip that part.
Yeah.
It's really important.
So give me a kind of overview of what a buyer consult looks like. Before we dive into the content, let's look at what it looks like holistically. How long is it? Where do you have it? How do you prep it? How long out do you plan it?
Yes.
How do you prepare them beforehand? How do you set them up for success after?
Yep.
I want all of the around before we go into the in.
Yeah. So to zoom out a bit and get the big picture, it's really my biggest thing that I explain it to people is like, hey, whether you're going to buy a house this month or you guys are really setting it up and just getting really good, valuable information for 8 months from now, 9 months from now, this is stuff we didn't learn in college or high school, which is crazy. And so honestly, that's part of the fun kind of icebreaker that I use with people of like, man, this information is so important. And it's never wasting my time, because my favorite thing especially is first-time home buyers that are just like, wow, this is how it works. Because when you're in escrow, it's going to fly. It's like literally 3 weeks is kind of our normal escrow, and that's fast. So it's just like letting people know what the game is going to be like and certain challenges that people have had and what to expect. And then even if it is months later, at least they're hearing it again from you for a reminder.
Yep. And so they're usually, how long are they usually?
Well, Kyle will give me a really hard time because he's like, Jen, you like to talk. How long are your buyer consults? And I was laughing the other day. I was like, well, about an hour and a half probably. And so if I'm going to do the whole pieces, right? Hour and a half is going to be like, we got to teach about the escrow process. We're going to talk about what the market's like. We're going to talk about how does your offer get turned into a winning offer to be the top of the pile. Those are all great things. And sometimes a buyer consult, we only get like 20 minutes. So you're going to have to do that escrow process and teach it at a later time.
Yeah. And Kyle's very different than you, but also you attract different clients, right?
I do.
And so for you, having an hour and a half, for him, it would drive him crazy, but also he doesn't have the patience to work with buyers anyway.
Right.
And so I think it can fluctuate. Now, where do you have these buyer consults? Is it?
Yes.
Where do you prefer? Is it at your house, or is it their house? Is it at Starbucks? Is it at the office? Where do you like to have it?
There's a couple locations, and obviously my number one choice is going to be home court advantage to have it at the office. Mm-hmm. We've got amazing quiet conference rooms. They come into a great professional environment. Plus, we've got a giant TV on the wall, so we can cast and look at properties together real time. So that's where it gets into the hour and a half of like, are we going to dive into what you really need? Talk to the lender on the phone, get this real party started, and then we're already building all the momentum.
Okay.
So that's number one spot.
Okay.
Number two spot is going to be possibly at a coffee shop, which can be loud. Starbucks is the least choice, but the easiest one for people. Sometimes you have to bribe little teenagers to grab the table, but that's a good hack. So there's that. And then the least favorite of mine is going to be a Zoom, right? Which we're all used to Zoom, but there's sometimes that you can just check out pretty easy. And then there is what we call the driveway consult. Mm-hmm. So, and one more in there that's one of my favorites is a vacant house. So when you go show a house that's staged, right? And nobody lives there. To me, I'm like, woo, that's an office. So we're going to meet on the kitchen island. And of course, I ask your permission. Hey, can we go through some information while I'm there? I have some great stuff to give you guys, and I want to make sure we're all on the same page. It'll take about 20 minutes to a half hour. So I'm not going to do the whole thing there, but I'm going to get through some good stuff about what we're looking for, how to set up an offer, and some things to kind of get their brain going.
I love that. If you set up a buyer consult, how far in advance do you do it? Will you set one up for a month from now? Or?
No, great question. So like when I meet you at an open house or a call or a referral, then I would love to set it up within that week. Okay. So it's best to set it up within a few days if possible. Some people are like, man, this week is crazy. So maybe out another week. If it gets any more than that, life just gets so full. It's kind of easy to say, I'm just going to move that off because someday we'll talk about buying a house, which we've done a lot of years.
Yeah. So, okay. And then how do you follow up with them? What do you do to make sure because again, a lot of people go, well, I don't like buyer consults. People no-show all the time. It's like, well, okay, but what did you do? Right. And they're like, well, they said they were going to come 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Okay.
So the time's too far, right? And that doesn't really happen to me a lot because, again, where I meet most people is open house. So then I'm really scheduling it. And then they've already really had a lot of conversation with you and trust you. Then I'm going to send them some value. I'm going to make some videos of, hey, this is Jen, Bryan. It was so good to meet you today. This is the house we met at. I'm excited to talk to you guys about your dreams. It may not be in Hillcrest here, but we're going to take you north to Bankers Hill and a little bit and see what's possible. So really, I think people appreciate when I am active listening, like sharing what I know that they want. And then you can send them information about who you are, what you do before the consult. So,
and what do you use for that?
We use High Note, which is amazing. So it becomes this kind of live page, interactive resume, if you will. And I have some video clips of what we do, how we write an offer, intro our team, like a lot of good information. So then they have some knowledge of who we are and what we're coming in with.
Very good. And then after so I think we did the before, follow up. And then I think you also, like you part of our team, what we do is we send them calendar invites, we send them a text reminder, right?
Yep.
An email reminder. So that way we hit them from a bunch of different directions. And then do you also call a day or so before, or is that
if it's been a week kind of pushing that, then I will call before and I'll usually make up a couple questions of just like reviewing what houses they were looking for and kind of something from our conversation and check in with them. Yeah,
it would be weird if you do an open house on Sunday and you send them a text Sunday night and then call them Monday morning. We're good for today. Like, yeah, dude.
Right. Jen, I got your calendar invite and your text reminder from FUB that comes. So I'm good. Follow boss. Yep.
Okay. So now we have that. Talk to me what goes into a buyer consult.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to do the hour, don't give me the hour and a half consultation.
Oh, gosh, no. In a perfect world, there's just a couple little high notes that you're trying to breach, like an outline.
Yeah.
So, and I tell new agents, like, write your outline down. It's okay so that you don't forget a section. Nobody minds that you have notes, right?
We both have notes.
Yeah. And so the first one is you are completely jamming out on their needs and wants. You're getting them excited about like, oh my gosh, if I had that extra home office and my child wasn't like sitting on my lap trying to work, right? So and they talk about that the longest. And we have a great buyer consult sheet that's walking us through all those questions, which I think any agent should have on them. And it's really thorough. And the funny part is they're never asking about you, about me. And newer agents are like, they're going to ask me how many deals I've done or da-da-da. No, they're not, especially when you're being present with them and you're in this professional setting and away we go. So that's the first part.
So I love that because one, people love talking about themselves.
Yes, they do.
They love talking about what they want or what they don't want.
Yep.
I've heard some people say, tell me what your absolute deal breakers. Because sometimes people go, well, I don't know. I want more. Sure. And they're like, if they're vague, like, what don't you want? Oh, I absolutely don't want an HOA.
Right.
0%. Oh, no way do I want 2 stories. Like,
yeah.
Okay. So I love that. And you're really diving into their motivation, which you can use over and over and over.
Yes.
Why do you want that? And you mentioned like, oh, it would be nice to have a home office. And so that way when your buyers 3 weeks, 3 months down the road, they're not finding what they want. They say, I'm not going to buy a house, and go, oh, so your kid doesn't bug you at working at home anymore?
Right.
Like they moved on from that? Like, oh, no, that's still annoying as hell.
Like, how long are you willing to sit with that, Bryan?
Yes.
What if I could find you the right property?
Yeah. So bringing that back and getting it right away is something you can utilize throughout. I love that. Okay, so first off, hi, welcome. Tell me everything about you, everything about what you want, everything about what you need. everything about what you don't want. And that's where it can go on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah. And when you get better at these, like actually the next couple categories is all meshed in with that first kind of questionnaire, because we're talking about what the market is like, right? But that's my next section is what is the market like right now? Because in San Diego, it's changing monthly. Every few weeks, it's a different market.
And it's changing based on where you're at. If you're in one neighborhood versus another neighborhood. If you're looking for a condo versus a townhouse. Like, it literally, I've seen it where it's like...
How competitive is it?
Yeah. What price point are you looking at?
Yep.
Like
it varies greatly.
There's 1,000 different markets in San Diego. Yeah.
So I love to give people the overall, but then to tell them about rural areas versus super popular so that they can have an idea. A lot of people think that they're set on a location until they give you all their pieces, and then we might be taking them further.
Yeah, you go, okay, so what you want Poway, but all the things you said was La Jolla.
Let me show you how many things are like that up there. Oh, 2.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe more. We need more variables. So
cool. So about them, then about the market.
Yep, and then how to write a winning offer is the biggest piece for me, because and we use real stories of clients that have got their offers accepted. For me, it's like last week, the week before. People love to hear about real families examples in real time, not what happened back in October. I mean, and we're on a team that's doing, I don't know, what did we do in January, February? 90 pendings each month.
Probably sounds right.
So take that moment to brag a little that we have our pulse on the market too. We're not like a tiny team that does a little bit of business, or part-time agents out there.
And what I love about this, and I've told new agents this as well, is they say, well, I don't have a story about how I did a winning offer.
Right.
So weird, but Jen just told you a story.
Tell my story.
Yeah, and you don't lie. I'm so anti. Don't say I had a client. No. But you could say we had a client. Our team had a client. My coworker, we just went through this scenario where ... happened, and this is how we did it. How you can own that, and so.
Client stories are money, because people either want to be like that client or they don't want to make that mistake.
Yeah.
They don't want to be left behind in the dust and not get a pre-approval and then find the perfect house next week. So these are the stories that we're saying and what it takes to write a good offer. So
I mean, we've got a couple minutes. I know we didn't go into this with this intention, but if an agent's listening and they are newer or they're getting into the business, or maybe they say, hey, my offers just keep getting beat out. What are some things that agents can do? Now, they can't use our buyer VIP program. That's our thing.
Right.
But what are some things that agents can do regardless of the market to help get their offer accepted?
Yeah, it's, we're coming out of what was way more favored for buyers, where we were asking for tons of credits at the end of the year and things like that, to where it's not as easy to ask for these extra things if we're going to be in a competitive market. So we can talk about different loan products, and I want my clients to shop around a little bit and find the best, because I don't want them to say, well, if I got this much more in closing cost, because to make a great offer that's going to be on the top of a pile of 10, that may not cut it. So we're talking about terms. It's not always price. I let them know, not every family is in the most amazing financial situation, but people get a little bit nervous about showing all their proof of funds. What if they've been saving forever and they've got a gift from family and a retirement fund and some, stocks in Bitcoin that aren't quite liquid, but I want you to show all that you can, because we want the financial snapshot to be as best as we can.
Yeah.
And then I still have them do the love letter. Love letter, picture, why they love that house. And I do a little video of them. Now, the agents may not always show that, and I know that, but if they are open to see it, and of course we ask permission and the agent will show it, then that really can pull them to the top. If they've lived in that home for 25 years, I've seen it time and time again, our offer gets picked even if we're number 3.
Yeah.
So terms, and when I say terms, I mean shortening your inspection period, even though it can be a bit scary. So that's why the next section of the escrow process, we don't always get to. If we're in a driveway consult, which means they're getting in their car, their kids are running around, we're just telling them a little bit, and then we know that we have to tee up and have a Zoom call or a coffee to talk about that next time.
So why is it important to talk about the escrow process? You're talking about once your offer gets accepted. Why would you talk about that before you're even showing them homes?
Yeah, there's so many agents out there that will just be like, let's go show you homes, and just start this running. And it's really like, to me, it's the cart before the horse, because it's like, wait a minute, do you even know what inspections look like? Do you know what inspections are? Do you know how many days you have? And that may not feel important, but the cost is important, to know that the average home inspections are going to be from $500 to $1,200. So that's important to like calculate, like, does that work for me besides my down payment? And what is the appraisal cost? That's part of it too. And do certain lenders cover certain perks? And are there ways that you can save me money, Jen? So how can I share with you how I can save you all the money and all the hacks if you don't know the normal process to start?
Yeah, I mean, I bought my first condo when I was working here. I joined in January, bought it in August. Nice. And I remember Jason Hall, my lender, was like, hey, you got to pay for the
appraisal.
I think the appraisal. I was like, what?
Right, you didn't know.
He goes, yeah, you got to pay for it. I'm like, I thought they pay. Can we pay for it later? Like, he's like,
right.
No, you got to pay for it now. I'm like, I didn't understand. Okay, I guess. And so like it was just something that caught me off guard. And if I would have known up front, hey, you're going to pay for this, and this is about how much it's going to be. I always tell my mechanic, I say, hey, look, give me a rough estimate.
That's what people want.
I say, just tell me if it's going to be $300 or $3,000. Mm-hmm. And if it changes from $3,000 to $3,500, I'm fine. Right. But let me get the sticker shock out of the way now before you tell me like, oh yeah, it's gonna be. I thought it was gonna be $30. Like, we're on different pages, and so getting the sticker shock out of the way first.
Yes.
And they go, I didn't know I had to pay for that. And say, then you can say, hey, look, we have programs, we have plans, we can do this.
Yeah.
But that way, when it comes to it, they're not going to drag their feet.
Yeah. And the cat's out of the bag. There's less surprises because there's probably going to be surprises in escrow that we don't know about.
Yeah.
But the fact is the more we can educate, then the more clients feel like they trust me as their guide. And really, how I see myself is like, Kyle makes fun of me. I used to have a clipboard that I'd bring everywhere. I still do. And it's my project management days for events. And it's like, man, you are having one of the most important events in their life is closing on this home and buying the most important asset. So why wouldn't I be telling them what the next 3 steps are and just giving them brushstrokes of what the whole process is? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be long and drawn out, but it's so important because when you skip those pieces and they're asking you questions later, like, hey, what protects my deposit now? I'm confused on like, does this loan contingency just get released automatically? Like, no, didn't I explain that we both have to sign off? It's like a drawbridge. Like we actually have to like pick to say, keep going forward, together. Yeah. So it's peace of mind.
Yeah, and it's just, like I said, takes away those surprises, which is great. Yeah. What happens after you do the consultation? The thing I'm hearing you say and seeing you talk about is even though you're telling them all this information, I feel like you would be successful if we said, if I told you, Jen, you can't tell the escrow process. If we did a bet and I said, let's see if you can sign these clients. You can't say the escrow process.
Yep.
You can't ask about, you can't do any of these things you said. I think you would still be successful because your whole goal, your whole vision, your whole demeanor is about building rapport.
Yes.
It's about becoming friends, figuring out what they need and what tools in your tool belt can you help them with?
Yes.
And so that seems to be the secret sauce is people do business with the people they know, like, and trust.
Yes.
And the stuff that you're talking about, the escrow process and the offer writing process, all that is building trust, but they got to like you. And if you're not likable, that's not going to start off as a good process, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of wild to me how many agents like actually aren't great at small talk in open houses. So that's another whole topic we could jam out on. But I think it's so important to brush up on your people skills and some favorite lines, some icebreakers that you're going to ask people when they walk in, that they remember you and even put their guard down a little bit so that you stand out.
Give me a few. So one of the things, I'll let you think about a few that I'll ask you about.
Sure.
So start thinking about those. But one of the things when I would do as a photographer is I did went to a seminar or something, and they talked about have some lines that you can say to make people feel comfortable. And so that way you're not taking a picture and going, awesome, awesome, awesome. They said write down 50 different
so
words
true.
for beautiful and use
so
those
good.
interchangeably.
Yep.
So that way you're not like, okay, you said awesome the last 40 times. They're not all awesome. Like, and so utilizing those interchangeably and having those in your back pocket.
Yep.
Now equate that to open houses or small talk. What are some lines that you use to help bring their guard down? Probably starting off with like, you want to make an offer? Right.
Oh, always. Are we going to work together? Yeah. Would you like some grapes?
Would you like to sign for 3,000 years?
Yeah.
So what are some kind of things that you do?
I mean, I'm so comfortable in open houses, but I realize that the lines were learned from watching good agents too. And it's like a very common one that breaks a lot of ice is like, how'd you guys find us? It's not like, did you see my signs? Are you shopping for, like, yeah, they're shopping for homes. They're walking in the house. So I just think that really puts their guard down and lets you know right away, like, actually, we were just driving to Home Depot. And then in my mind, I'm like, sweet. So they're like excited, but don't even know how much this house is worth. So then I kind of jump into like, if you guys were dreaming about a home that you could change where you live, what would you change? Like, what are you dreaming about? That like had you come check something out? Mm-hmm. Is it a new neighborhood, or is it like, I'll ask them funny stuff. Like, if you could add one thing, what would it be? And you can have different answers, and then they kind of look at each other and they'll have different answers. And I just think it's just a different approach.
The husband's like, a hot tub. The wife is like, 3 more kids. Like,
Right. Different priorities. Which one's a deal breaker? Okay. And then, I always have food, and not just like a bag of chips that they can grab. I've been trained by their agents of like, have stuff out that they have to come and eat, like at the counter. Because psychologically, I want them to hang out in the kitchen. I mean, I'm Italian, so that's where all the magic happens. But that's where all the good conversations happen. So if I can get them in the kitchen kind of chatting it up, you want to know what they love about the home and what they don't love, but that's a little bit more boring. I like to know about what are they dreaming at in their life.
Yeah, I like that. I like Koci talked about it. We did a podcast earlier and used the same line of like, how did you find us?
Yeah.
I have seen people say like, hey, do you live around here? And I'll usually do that when I'm photographing and someone walks up to me.
Yeah.
And they go, what are you doing? Are you taking photos of my house? And I say, oh, do you live around here? They go, yeah, I'm 2 doors down. I've lived here since the first. And I'm like, oh, cool. How do you like it? And like, literally,
how do you love the neighborhood? I get excited. If it's a neighbor, I get pumped.
Yeah. And
then
just talking about that, like, I can't tell you how many times, and whenever we do stuff, and especially early when we did drone, I mean, I would always have agents there. So that way when a grumpy neighbor comes out and goes, I say, just ask them about their house or the neighborhood. Yes. And they go from like, what
are you doing?
Yeah, to like, let me tell you. Yeah. Oh, and then Sally down the street, she doesn't pick up her Christmas lights until February. They're like, I don't care.
Like, my biggest rule of thumb is like, listen to what they're sharing with you. So whatever they're doing, I want to talk about what they did in the day. What are they doing after this? And I just get in their world. Sometimes they're even complaining about agents, and then they end up being a client of mine where it's a buy-sell. And we started off that way. So just getting in their world.
Yeah, I wonder even, again, talking about open houses, like having a question like, hey, is this your first open house today? Or have you seen other houses? Yes. Like, that tells you a lot just from that one answer.
It does.
And they're not going to be like, I'm not going to tell you.
Right.
And they're like, oh, yeah, we've been doing it all day. You're like, oh, he must be exhausted. Like, it can really help build rapport without being like, you want to make an offer on this house?
Yes.
What do you think? What's the best feature?
Add jokes, play off what they're saying. I always invite them to have food and tell them I got to throw it all away or take it home. Please don't let me take it home. And then whatever my corny jokes are, some people really just laugh, and it breaks the ice.
You know what? From my experience, because I do a lot of bad jokes.
Yes, I love your dad jokes.
Thank you. Is you'll either get a real laugh or a pity laugh, but either way, it fills my cup.
Either way it breaks it. So,
anything else before we move on to our Whissel Widget of the Week?
No, I just cannot emphasize enough that being comfortable with your buyer consult will change your business as an agent. And I wish I would have known that earlier, but once I got on this team, I really understood that.
I love that. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, if you gained one nugget of information, I would love for you to do 2 things. 1, share that nugget with us in a comment or a review. That goes a long way. It helps our podcast get more views. It helps us help more people. 2, if you got any valuable information from this, share it with a friend. Share it with an agent that is new in the business. Share it with an agent who's been in the business for 20 years who says buyer consults are a waste of time. Say, no, it's not. Here's the proof. Mm-hmm. Share it with a team leader who already talks about buyer consults. This could be a good video that they share with their team. Share it with someone who's thinking about getting to the industry and that you think maybe isn't a good fit for the industry. Mm-hmm. Share it with them and say, hey, look, this is what it takes to be successful, and you don't like people, and this whole secret sauce is about rapport. Maybe you should reconsider becoming a real estate agent. You don't have to say that. They'll figure it out. So if you could do those 2 things for me, it'll take 45 seconds of your day. It took us 45 minutes to film this and a couple hours to edit it. if you could just do those little things, that would go a long way for us. Again, if you like this, go to thewhisselway.com. Lots of information on there that you can sign up for. We're not going to spam you, but we'll give you cool stuff to help you grow your business. Now, let's transition into our Whissel widget of the week. This is something that we use in our business or in our life, saves us time, helps us have more fun, gives us energy. What do you got for us, Jen?
I mean, this may sound a little boring being on the Whissel team, but it's kind of everything because it's our CRM, and it is Follow Up Boss.
Oh, I love Follow Up Boss.
So we call it FUB around here, and seriously, I can imagine because I started off on my own, and it was like, literally, I feel like we were changing software and systems all the time, which is what I hate, which is why I'm on this team. Like, let me just be with the people and do what I want to do, and not, like, FUB is so much magic, how it's so much more than just a CRM. So it's interactive. It helps me do tasks for each client. It puts them into categories of who to call. It also syncs with like a million other things that make my life very easy. I'm not the most techie person, but luckily FUB does it all for me and lets my realtor life be very easy.
I think the way to simplify everything you said, because Kyle does this to me and I'm like, well, that was right, is it makes sure your clients and leads don't slip through the cracks.
Absolutely.
If you do the tasks you're supposed to do, and if you follow the process, you're not going to look back and go, oops, that guy sold this house 3 months ago. I should have been on that. Right. It'll help make sure you don't lose deals. I love it.
Yep.
Mine, I have been on a tear of these couple podcasts. We've batched them in one day, and this is my third
widget.
The third widget, but it's the same widget.
Okay.
And I got these new Ray-Ban Meta glasses.
Oh, you did. You got those. Those are cool.
I love them so much. What's really cool is you
spy on people and record.
Yeah. So right now, but it's not spying. It's got the little video. So
it's true. It tells you.
Yeah, I can create a little video. I talked about how I love the photos and videos, so I can do things hands-free.
That's
right.
Great.
So doing hanging out with my kids, coaching my son's t-ball game, but actually being engaged. I used this the other night I have a 7-month-old baby and just getting him laughing and giggling, and I could tickle him. And so photos and videos I love. I talked to Carly in Carly's podcast about how I can listen to music at all times.
No way.
Yeah, they got little speakers and I can just listen to music. I can have my own.
Your ears are free.
Yeah, and I can still hear background stuff. I've got my own personal soundtrack. What I love, my third thing that I love about these glasses, which I didn't think I would care, but you can answer and make calls from them. And so I'll get a call, I can talk to them, I don't have to put in my AirPods. I'm always wearing my glasses, they're prescription. And so when I'll get a call, usually I go, let me grab my AirPod, and I put it in, and it's got to sync, and
you're already ready.
And it's quick, but it's still like, sometimes I answer it and it's on the phone, I just answer it here, and it's right here. I can talk. It's not as loud as I really want it for the phone. I
was going to ask that.
But But
for convenience, if your hands are full, you can actually answer a call.
I love it.
That's very cool.
Ray-Ban, I'm not sponsored, but if you want to sponsor me.
Hey.
So anyways, that does it for this week's episode of Whissel Widget of the Week. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
Bye.